The one thing about politics is the game of addition. You need more voters than less, right? And there is a lot of talk about how we grow the number of voters, especially in an election year. And for a lot of us, we are in an election year. There is a conservative activist, an organizer named Scott Presler, who has been doing yeoman's work for the last several years. He organized a cleanup in Baltimore in 2019 that was unbelievably successful out of nowhere, got 200 volunteers and removed 12 tons of trash from the city in 12 hours. But more importantly, he's been going around using these same skill sets from city to city, state to state, Florida, Louisiana, Kentucky, Virginia. He's in Pennsylvania now, encouraging voting, getting people who are not registered to register to vote and understand the importance and consequence of actually getting out there and being part of the electorate. So I want to talk to him about what he's doing and how we can expand his efforts. It is my pleasure to welcome in Scott Presler. Scott, welcome to the show. Thanks for being with us today.
Hey, thank you, Sean, for having me.
So look, I want to ask you this question because I was trying to describe it to my audience. How would you describe yourself? I've said activist, organizer. What do you say?
I'd say flowing, long hair, majestic, conservative activist who's here to make Joe Biden a one-term president.
All right. Well, that'll fit. I'll have to figure out if we can fit that on there. So how did you start this whole idea? I mean, like, take me back a little ways. I know you've been involved in politics, both in Virginia and other places. What got you involved in specifically involved in the organizing and the registration piece of this?
Well, a little bit of my background, I graduated from George Mason in Fairfax, Virginia, wanted to be a police officer. I couldn't find a job in my field, walked dogs for a living, went on to work at an elementary school, but I really owe my political journey to none other than President Obama. And it was the day that he was reelected in 2012 that I created my Twitter account. I ended up moving in 2014. My first job ever was helping to elect now Governor Greg Abbott in the great state of Texas. And I went on to spend 2 years of my life to defeat Hillary Clinton and elect Donald Trump. But it was really in 2014, organizing in Texas, working with the grassroots, door knocking, registering voters, going on college campuses that I found my love in politics and I found my passion. And so now I've turned this into, I'm traveling the country, spearheading voter registration efforts across the states. And I'm here to make sure that next year we have success and we win.
So how do you get do you get funding for this, and if so, by whom?
Well, I'm probably not the best businessman. I did create an organization called Early Vote Action, earlyvoteaction.com. But to give your viewers an example of how grassroots I am, I mean, I sleep in people's homes. I'm not staying in 5-star hotels. I'm literally cuddling with people's animals, eating with them and their families as I travel the country. And so if people want to support my work, they may go to earlyvoteaction.com. But I'd even just like people's help registering voters and knocking on doors. I just want people to take action.
So you've gone around, you're in Pennsylvania now. You've done this in Virginia. You mentioned Texas. And so walk me through the process. Do you just show up and say, I want to go down a list of folks and find out who's not registered? And I mean, because if you look at your Twitter account, it's here's how many people I got today. Here's what I'm doing. So what's the process like?
Well, sometimes people will reach out to me. So they'll slide into my DMs, like the National Federation of Arizona Republican Women, and they'll invite me to an event. Or they'll want me to come to Kentucky to help elect Daniel Cameron as the next governor this November. So some of it is people reaching out to me, and other things are like, for example, at Early Vote Action, we're focused on 5 states: Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. And so over the years, I've developed relationships with people across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And so I'm here to bump up our voter registration numbers. So I went to Slippery Rock University. I'm here at Penn State University. Today I'll be in Crawford County, PA. And we're going to be knocking on doors for our local candidates because this November, we do have a very important Pennsylvania Supreme Court election to hopefully elect Judge Carolyn Carluccio as the next justice in PA. And so some of it is my own doing, and some of it is from the community wanting me to come in. But I'm definitely focused on Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. And this November, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, New Jersey, Virginia.
And so here's the thing that I find interesting. I've been doing politics. My first race was in the 94 cycle. Why you? I mean, what I don't get is that these guys should be able to do this on their own. You come in and you're like, bam, 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 and you put points on the board. What is it that you're doing that they need your help with? Because I feel like in some cases, it's almost like a motivational speaker. You're getting in there saying, hey, get off your butt, go out, knock on these doors, get this done.
Well, in part, Sean, I'm here out of necessity. I mean, look, I am not here to point fingers. I'm not here to judge. But, I've been reaching out to the RNC, to the chairwoman of the party, for nearly 160 days without a response. And I'm here in part because I see a void that needs to be filled. For example, let me tell you about the letter writing campaigns we're doing. I have lists of thousands of new movers to Louisiana, to Kentucky, to Pennsylvania, to Wisconsin. And the party right now is not writing letters or reaching out to these new voters. So at earlyvoteaction.com, I literally have hundreds of volunteers across the country that are writing handwritten letters that I've given them a template. I've given each of them 5 names, and they're welcoming new voters into the party. They're making sure that they're registered to vote as a Republican in states like Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona, that they have closed primaries. And I'll tell you, based on voter registration data, these letter writing campaigns have been so successful that in Louisiana, for example, we're seeing a 25% return on investment of the people that we write to being registered to vote and being registered to vote as a Republican. And so there's the success to our methodology.
So how much of this you mentioned is data driven? In other words, are you looking at voter registration lists? You mentioned the new movers. These people, like, is it you're basing this off of voter registration lists of people that are registered that haven't voted? Like, what's the methodology behind this?
Well, the methodology is we're focusing on people that are not registered to vote.
Okay.
So this is growing the electorate. We literally have the list of people that aren't registered. And the way that I'm able to track data is, for example, in Louisiana, we get data on the 1st of every month. So I had September 1st for the August data. And I've been able to track that in the last couple months leading up to August, the Republican Party was only gaining or losing 600 voters. It was either gaining 600 or they saw a decrease in their numbers. But since we instituted the letter writing campaign in this last month, we saw a bump of 1,600 new registered Republicans.